All right, guys, let's see if we can change some more lines tonight. What's up next on Alomia?
Well, we're going to talk about a surge in COVID-19 infections leading to shortages in hospital beds and staff originally, but now we've got an even bigger problem. Now we're losing oxygen. Hospitals in parts of the South are running out of oxygen supply as COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations continue to rise. It's driven by people who remain unvaccinated and the Delta variant. Several hospitals in Florida, South Carolina, Texas, and Louisiana are struggling with oxygen scarcity. Some are at risk of having to use their reserve supply or run out of oxygen imminently. That's scary. With the continued uptick in COVID-19 cases, there has been more demand for oxygen supply, and hospitals cannot keep up the pace to those needs.
You know, this goes back to something that happened in India a few months ago, is where they had something similar where they had a huge surge where they had so many people in the hospital on oxygen, they ran out of oxygen supplies. There wasn't enough beds. And so people were getting, so if you can't have oxygen, they give you steroids. And what the steroids do? Suppresses your immune response. So people in India were having this black, moldy discharges from their nose, nasal infections, and losing sight because of this new problem. So it looks like it's finally coming to us here. We're going to have a problem where there's going to be a bunch of people having some new type of symptoms because they are being put on steroids. And doing that risks their mortality rate, because you only stay on steroids for so long. It's not good for your body. It will kill your immune system like HIV, right? So then you're very, very vulnerable to just a basic cold or flu or any kind of infection. Or molds, all that kind of stuff. There's no immune system. So with these steroids, they give it through your nose as a nasal spray. And that's what kills your nasal passages. And that gives you a high risk of infection of a nasal infection. So we run out of oxygen supplies. There's nobody getting oxygen. People will die. And then the people that don't die get steroids, which leads to an infections of other types that risk their lives. So as a healthcare worker, this just hurts to hear that there's more of this stuff happening.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. I see medical director at Jupiter Medical Center, El Haddad, I hope I'm saying his name right, says we're seeing the patients die faster with this Delta variant. This round, we're seeing the younger patients, 30, 40, 50 years old, and they're suffering. They're hungry for oxygen, and they're dying. Unfortunately, this round, they're dying faster. That's going to be accelerated. I mean, that's what the ventilators were doing, was saving people who couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I actually just went to my girlfriend's class reunion, and one of her classmates is a nurse in Detroit. And he said it was so bad in Detroit that they had to offer housing for their nursing staff to stay there instead of going home to their families. I think we can't afford that again in these major cities where it's going to be really bad. It's just really, I don't know what to say, man. It's just get vaccinated. And so her classmates had been together since high school. She was a lawyer. He's a nurse. And she knows dozens of people that she knew personally that died the last time around. And one took 3 days, and 5 days, young, under 40, somewhere in their 50s. But that's what we're up against. It's gonna happen again if we don't watch it, man. And I think it said in this article that Dr. Fauci, which, people have their suspicions about his predictions, but he did tell Jake Tapper on CNN you can see an additional 100,000 deaths from COVID-19 by December. This is according to the University of Washington model. And it can be cut in half by masking and social distancing. It really is that easy. But people will refuse. They just don't give a shit. I don't know. That's where we're at, folks. I still wear my mask everywhere I go. Me and my girlfriend do. And Schools are starting up. Tomorrow's the first day of school here in Michigan in some schools, and then next week the rest of them start after Labor Day weekend. So I'm nervous that Michigan will see a spike as soon as the schools open up.